He knew he was killing himself. He would sob and say, I don't want to die. He'd sit there with his head in his hands and be sobbing out loud like a child. Say, oh. Such a waste.
Largely forgotten and off the political agenda, alcohol abuse destroys many Australian lives. 70,000 people are hospitalised each year because of it. The damage alcohol causes far outweighs the combined effects of all illicit drugs, including ice, heroin and cannabis.
It's like a corrosive that affects any part of you that's not chrome-plated. So if your liver isn't 100%, it gets at your liver. If it's your brain that's not quite resistant to alcohol, then you get brain damage. If it's your heart, it can damage your heart. It can damage your bones. It can damage every single cell in your body.
Four Corners has been following 3 problem drinkers trying to stay sober. We first met them in November last year, about 9 weeks into their abstinence.
I'm not proud of myself. How can I be proud of the fact that I spent most of my adult life pissed as a fart? I can't be proud of that, but at the same time, I can't change it either. I can't change the past. I can only change the way I'm living my life now. And if, you know, I've done drunk, I want to try sober for a bit.
What chance, if you're a gambling man, would you give yourself of being sober in a new year sometime?
100%. Fully confident.
If I hadn't started facing my demons, I don't think I'd be alive now, because I've seriously started to think that in the last year, it's do or die. It's do or die, just do it.
So 4 months on, how have they all fared? Tonight on Four Corners, 3 people's compelling battles with booze. Television personality Ian Dixon started drinking at the age of 13. It seemed he'd inherited a taste for it.
My dad is an alcoholic. He hit the booze seriously when I was a toddler and went in to dry out into a mental institution.
I think his worst fear is actually being more like his father, and I think he does everything to try and combat that.
Studies show that the sons of alcoholic fathers have as much as a 5 times higher chance of developing the addiction.
I got into a stage pretty recently where I was drinking to an unhealthy level. That's no one's fault but my own.
What's an unhealthy level?
An unhealthy level for me was 3 bottles of wine a night, plus beers, plus the occasional short. So
The occasional?
Plus the occasional, you know, mixer drink, gin and tonic or Bacardi or whatever.
Dixon's drinking escalated 4 years ago when at the age of 40 he suddenly shot to fame as a television personality.
I think you need to start acting your age, not my age, right? You've got a lot of joy in you as a young woman. Don't try and be too mature. And my wife says I shouldn't act your age, I should act my age. So don't take it personally. We've all got to learn. But that was sensational. Well done, darling.
Thank you.
I don't want to make it the sole excuse, but I know after a while I'd walk into a function or a place and all heads would turn around because I was on telly. And I'd immediately head for the bar and throw down 3 drinks really quickly just to power down my emotions and power down my fear, really.
People tend to think he's, you know, public property and think they can come up and say absolutely anything to his face.
Dixon started to feel depressed. Some days he didn't want to leave the house. He was drinking a lot and nearly every day. Mostly he's a happy drunk, But there's a dark side.
I'm ashamed to admit, been in a couple of fist fights in pubs, you know, over being hassled by people.
What have you seen?
Shouting at the neighbours. Having a bit of a rant. Getting into arguments with people. Punch-ups. Trying to stop punch-ups. Shouting at the kids. Just being totally unreasonable.
I don't want to end up, you know, a shabby, deluded alcoholic.
It's taking him away from us. Just... It's almost like he's not here half the time. We're not conscious when he's in the house.
Last year, Ian Dixon decided to face his demons and seek help. A psychologist he was seeing suggested he stop drinking.
I actually stopped drinking about 2 months ago. It took me a whole month to actually pluck up the courage. And probably still am, terrified of the idea of never having another drink. I'm terrified of not standing with my mates at a footy match, having a beer. I'm terrified of having a dinner party and spending 4 hours preparing a fantastic dinner and not pouring a glass of wine to go with it and enjoying that.
What's so terrifying?
What's up? Because I'm terrified because I enjoy it. I actually really do enjoy the social aspect of drinking. I hadn't reached rock bottom, you know. I was keeping my job and my career together. You know, I was functioning absolutely, you know, fine. And, you know, I was even training and keeping the weight off. But I know it's not really been making me feel terribly fulfilled. And I've just been getting really, really depressed with it, frankly. I think the cumulative effects of years and years of alcohol abuse has just made me feel and look really old and feel depressed, basically. And I just figured I'd like to try and be a husband and a dad and a friend and a colleague and a celebrity without alcohol.
We'd have to pick up the pieces, really. His life and soul of the party, when he's out, and everyone thinks, what a great bloke, fantastic, you know, really just a great mate and everything, and then comes home, and the next day, they would not want to see that. Huxley novel.
It's not Gorman Ghost, is it? No, Brave New World.
That's the one.
Yes. I've just started waking up to myself, to my surroundings, and to other people's feelings, really, and other people's lot. I'm absolutely convinced I'm a lot more considerate when I'm away from alcohol than when I'm drinking. Mel always says when I stop drinking that she's got a new husband. She's got this bright, shiny character around the house who's far more loving, far more considerate, far more awake and conscious, and also she says the sex is better as well. I would hate, even within that space of time, for alcohol to come between me being a good father and not. That's my greatest fear, is I wouldn't be there for the girls when they needed me. I just find myself interacting with my kids a lot more consciously and lovingly when I'm not drinking. And I think they've responded well to that. I think they acknowledge that. Yeah, but you go with your friends, don't you? Okay.
But not everyone is happy about Ian Dixon's decision to try to stop drinking. Abstinence can affect friendships.
Yeah! You play much better when you're pissed, though, I tell you, mate. Your ribs still sore.
Go and get me another water. I've got a close friend, my mate Wayne. We're drinking buddies, and we've been to some of the best, you know, sporting events in the world. We've been to Japan, to the World Cup. We've been to the, you know, the Australian Open. We've, you know, grand final, and alcohol's always played such a big part of that enjoyment.
Ian and I have been known to hit it pretty hard, but it all comes back to if you're having a good time. You know, we're here for a good time, not a long time, so, you know, get amongst it.
6 bottles of red were often consumed by the two friends over lunch. But then